Imagine a world where the one thing we all fear most, death, simply stops existing. No more funerals, no more loss. Sounds like a utopia, right? Wrong. In the Marvel multiverse, there is a reality where life won the war against the grave and the result wasn't a paradise. It was a nightmare of infinite, uncontrolled growth. A universe that became a living, breathing, screaming tumor. This is the Cancerverse. Most evil universe stories are about destruction. They're about a villain wanting to snap their fingers and turn everything to ash. But the Cancerverse is different. It doesn't want to kill you. It wants to keep you alive forever, whether you like it or not. It wants to infect your reality, rewrite your biology, and turn your heroes into eldritch puppets for gods that existed before time began. Today, we are diving deep into the most metal, Lovecraftian event in Marvel history, the Thanos Imperative. We're going to look at how a single choice by a dying hero turned an entire reality into a cosmic cancer, why the Avengers of that world are more terrifying than any villain you've ever seen, and why the only person who could save the multiverse was the one man who loves death more than life itself, the mad titan, Thanos. Buckle up, because in this reality, the great beyond is already full, and it's coming for us. To understand how a universe becomes a literal cancer, we have to look at the moment of infection. In our world, Earth 616, Captain Mar-Vell died a human death. He died of cancer, surrounded by his friends, in one of the most emotional stories ever told. His death was a tragedy, but it was natural. But in Earth 10011, things went differently. As Mar-Vell lay on his deathbed, he didn't accept the end. He was terrified. And in that moment of pure, unadulterated fear, something whispered back from the darkness outside of space and time. These are the many-angled ones. Think of them as the Cthulhus of the Marvel Universe, entities of pure chaos that exist in the spaces between. They offered Mar-Vell a deal. We will give you the power to kill death itself. We will make you and your world eternal. Mar-Vell took the deal. He performed a ritual called the necropsy, and in a flash of corrupted light, he murdered the avatar of death in his reality. The consequences were immediate and horrific. Without death to act as the pruner of the cosmic garden, life began to grow unchecked. Imagine every cell in your body deciding it never needs to die. They just keep dividing and dividing. Eventually, the person is gone and only the growth remains. Now apply that to a whole planet. Now apply it to every star, every galaxy, and every soul in an entire dimension. By the time our heroes discover this place, Earth 10011 isn't a collection of planets anymore. It is a single, multi-trillion-mile organism. A Cancerverse that has run out of room to grow in its own dimension and is now looking at our universe like a fresh, uninfected, healthy cell. So how does this nightmare get to us? It all starts with a hole in the head of the universe. After a massive war between the Kree and the Shi'ar, an event called the War of Kings, the sheer amount of cosmic energy released literally tore a hole in the fabric of spacetime. The heroes called it the Fault. It was a jagged, bleeding rift thousands of light years across. And something was looking back through it. The first person to go in was Quasar, Marvel's protector of the universe. He expected to find a vacuum or maybe a dead star system. Instead, he found a fleet of ships that looked like they were made of bone and rotting meat. And leading them, the Revengers. Let's talk about the Revengers for a second, because this is where the horror really sets in. These aren't just evil versions of the Avengers. These are biological husks. The Cancerverse Captain America doesn't believe in freedom. He believes in the truth, which is the absolute subjugation of all life to the many-angled ones. Their Iron Man is a fused mass of circuitry and necrotic flesh. Their Thor doesn't call down lightning. He calls down the black light of the outer gods. When Quasar meets them, he realizes the terrifying truth. You can't kill them. He blasts them with enough energy to vaporize a sun, and they just stand back up. Their wounds close instantly with a wet, sucking sound. They laugh at the concept of pain, because in their world, dying is a forgotten myth. This is the trending terror of the Cancerverse. It's not a fight against a villain you can punch. It's a fight against a biological inevitability. It's the ultimate what-if gone wrong. While the Revengers are preparing to invade our reality, something else is happening back on Earth 616. The Guardians of the Galaxy have a problem. A big, purple, I want to kill half the universe kind of problem. Thanos is back. But he's not the Thanos we know. He has been resurrected by the Universal Church of Truth, but something went wrong. He is a mindless berserker engine of pure rage. He doesn't want to rule, he just wants to end everything. Star-Lord, being the tactical genius, or complete idiot that he is, realizes something. The only way to stop a universe where nothing can die is to bring someone who knows how to kill. The Guardians manage to capture Thanos and chain him up. They realize that Thanos is the avatar of death for our universe. He has a metaphysical connection to the end of all things. If the Cancerverse is an infection, Thanos is the scalpel. This sets up one of the most uncomfortable alliances in comic history. The Guardians of the Galaxy, Nova, and a literal cosmic war criminal, diving headfirst into a rip in space to take the fight to a God Emperor Mar-Vell. The plan is simple. Get Thanos to the heart of the Cancerverse, let him do his thing, and pray that there's a universe left to come home to. But as they cross the threshold into the fault, they realize they've walked into a trap. The many-angled ones didn't just want our universe. They wanted our death. They want to perform the necropsy ritual on our reality, killing our avatar of death so that the entire multiverse can become one giant, undying, cancerous organism. And they have the perfect bait, Lord Mar-Vell. When the fault fully opens, it doesn't just release a fleet of ships. It releases a physical violation of physics. The Cancerverse isn't invading with soldiers, it's invading with living death. Huge, bi-organic ships shaped like skulls and ribcage drift into our reality, and they don't fire lasers, they fire spores. They fire infection. The first line of defense is the heavy hitters. We're talking about the Kree and Shi'ar armadas, the Nova Corps, and even Galactus himself. And for the first time in eons, Galactus is actually afraid. He realizes that if the many-angled ones win, there will be nothing left for him to consume. He would be the devourer of worlds in a world that can never be digested because it never stops growing. Galactus teams up with the Celestials to form a literal, cosmic wall to hold back the tide. It is one of the most metal visuals in Marvel history, a row of space gods standing shoulder to shoulder against an incoming tide of Lovecraftian meat monsters. But even they aren't enough. The Cancerverse brings out its secret weapon, the Galactus engine. Imagine a version of Galactus from their universe that has been hollowed out and turned into a massive eldritch battery for the many-angled ones. It starts tearing through our Celestials like they're made of paper. This is the stakes of the Cancerverse. It's not just evil versus good. It's existence versus eternal sickness. If our universe loses, we don't die, we just become part of the engine. While the cosmic gods are fighting the big war, the ground war is being led by the Revengers. I want to pause here and talk about Lord Mar-Vell's inner circle, because they are the dark mirror of everything we love about the Avengers. In our world, Captain America represents the indomitable human spirit. In the Cancerverse, he represents the indomitable growth. He is the pope of this new religion of undeath. When they face off against our version of the heavy hitters, Silver Surfer, Quasar, Beta Ray Bill, and Gladiator, the fight is terrifyingly one-sided. Not because the Revengers are more powerful, but because they have no off switch. You can put a hole through the Cancerverse Hulk's chest, and he'll just look at you with milky eyes and keep swinging. They don't breathe, they don't tire, they just exist to spread the truth. The horror here is the loss of identity. These aren't clones. These are the actual heroes of that world who were told you never have to lose a friend again, and they said yes. They traded their souls for a life that never ends, and now they are nothing but biological extensions of the many-angled ones. As our universe's front line starts to crumble, Star-Lord and the Guardians realize the only way to win is an inside job. They have to take the infection's cure directly into the heart of the Cancerverse. The cure, as we established, is Thanos. But there's a massive problem, Drax the Destroyer. Drax's entire biological purpose is to kill Thanos. It's written into his DNA, and the Cancerverse is a place where life is dialed up to 11. Being in that universe is like putting Drax on the ultimate cosmic steroid. He becomes so overwhelmed by the urge to fulfill his purpose that he snaps. In a moment of pure chaos, Drax attacks Thanos while they are deep behind enemy lines. He manages to pin the Mad Titan and attaches an antimatter charge to his chest. He blows Thanos to Kingdom Come. For a second, the Guardians think it's over. The plan is dead. Their weapon is vaporized. But remember, this is the Cancerverse. Thanos doesn't stay dead. He reconstitutes. Every atom of his being screams as it is pulled back together by the unnatural laws of this reality. But when he stands back up, something is different. He is no longer the mindless berserker. He is calm, he is cold, and he is pissed off. Thanos realizes that the many-angled ones didn't just bring him there to kill him. They want to use him as a death battery to jumpstart the infection of our world. He decides to play along, but Thanos has never been anyone's puppet. Lord Mar-Vell eventually catches up to them. He stands over a defeated Thanos and prepares for the ultimate necropsy. This is the ritual that will officially kill death in our universe. Mar-Vell is arrogant. He thinks he's one. He mocks Thanos, calling him the avatar of a failed concept. Thanos just smiles. He surrenders. He literally kneels and tells Mar-Vell to finish it. The Guardians are horrified. They think Thanos has betrayed them to save his own skin. Mar-Vell plunges his blade into Thanos' heart, ready to absorb the essence of death. But Thanos didn't surrender because he was weak. He surrendered because he knew that death isn't just a concept. She is a person, and she is very, very jealous. By killing Thanos in the heart of the Cancerverse, Mar-Vell didn't destroy death. He invited her in. He opened a door that had been locked for eons. Suddenly, the bright, sickening light of the Cancerverse turns gray. The air gets cold. The wet, squelching sounds of the living universe go silent. For the first time in millions of years, the Cancerverse feels something it has forgotten: fear. Death appears, not as a concept, but as the lady herself, and she isn't happy. She looks at Lord Mar-Vell, the man who cheated her, the man who tried to delete her from existence, and she doesn't just kill him, she unexists him. The touch of death ripples through the Cancerverse like a shockwave. The life plague begins to wither. The many-angled ones, these giant cosmic gods, start to shrivel up and scream. The infection is being purged. Thanos stands back up, expecting his lady to finally embrace him, to thank him for giving her an entire universe to feast upon. He has literally served her 1 trillion souls on a silver platter. But death, she just turns her back on him, she leaves. And that is when the real nightmare begins for Star-Lord and Nova. The Cancerverse is screaming. Imagine an entire universe's nervous system being set on fire at once. That is what happened the moment Thanos allowed death to enter this reality. For eons, this dimension was a closed loop of infinite growth. Now the concept of the end has returned, and it is devouring everything. The many-angled ones, those gods that thought they were untouchable, are shriveling into nothingness. The Revengers are finally, mercifully turning to ash. But in the center of this collapsing reality stands Thanos. He is waiting for his reward. He has just hand-delivered an entire universe of life for Lady Death to claim. He stands there, triumphant, arms open, expecting a hug, a look, a sign of love. But Death, she doesn't even look at him. She doesn't speak. She just turns her back and vanishes. This is the most dangerous moment in the history of the Marvel Cosmic. Thanos doesn't just feel rejected, he feels used. He realized he was just a door, a tool, and the rage that erupts from him is unlike anything we've ever seen. He turns to the only things left in the room, Star-Lord and Nova. He screams that if he cannot have death, then he will make the entire universe suffer as he does. He is going to go back through the fault, and he is going to turn our reality into a graveyard just to get her attention again. And this is where the heroes make their choice. The fault is closing. The portal back to Earth 616 is shrinking by the second. Rocket, Groot, and the rest of the Guardians are on the other side, screaming for Peter and Richard to jump through. But Star-Lord looks at Nova, and Nova looks at Star-Lord. They both see the same thing. Thanos is too fast. If they try to jump, Thanos will be right on their heels. And a heartbroken, vengeful Thanos is a threat the healthy universe cannot survive. Star-Lord pulls out the last piece of tech he has, a cosmic cube. It's flickering, it's dying, but it is just enough juice for one final act. He doesn't use it to kill Thanos. You can't kill Thanos here. He uses it to anchor them. "We're not going home rich," Peter says. Nova doesn't hesitate. He funnels the entire Nova force, the collective power of an entire galactic police corps, into his own body. He becomes a living sun, a golden cage of energy. He grabs Thanos. He pins the mad Titan's arms to his sides. The vault snaps shut. On the other side in our universe, the silence is deafening. The jagged rip in the stars is gone. The Galactus engine has crumbled. The invasion is over. But the two greatest kings of the cosmic era are gone. We need to talk about what that sacrifice meant. For years, Star-Lord and Nova were the blue-collar heroes of space. They didn't have the luxury of the Avengers mansion or the X-Men's school. They were the ones in the trenches, fighting wars no one on Earth even knew were happening. And they died, or so we thought, in a tomb of rotting meat, fighting a monster who couldn't die, in a universe that was being erased from history. A memorial service is held on the Kree homeworld of Hala. A massive statue is built. All the heavy hitters are there: Silver Surfer, Gladiator, Quasar. They all acknowledge that while they held the line, it was two human men who actually won the war. But as the ceremony ends, a shadow remains. The Nova Force is gone. The World Mind is silent. The Guardians of the Galaxy disband because without Peter Quill there is no heart left in the team. The cosmic side of Marvel enters a dark age. Now, why does the Cancerverse matter today? Why is it trending in the minds of comic fans in 2026? Because the Cancerverse isn't just a story about a bad place. It's a metaphor for the fear of stagnation. In an era where we want everything to last forever, our favorite franchises, our favorite characters, our own lives, the Cancerverse shows us the horror of getting exactly what we wish for. It reminds us that death isn't the villain. Death is the thing that gives life its value. Without a finish line, the race is just a treadmill of agony. In recent years, we've seen hints that the many-angled ones are still out there, scratching at the walls of reality. We've seen Richard Rider return, haunted by the cancer funk that still clings to his soul. We've seen that Thanos never forgot the rejection he faced in that dying world. The Cancerverse changed the DNA of Marvel Cosmic. It proved that space isn't just Star Wars with superheroes. It's a gothic, psychological horror show where the greatest threat isn't a bomb or a laser. It's the terrifying possibility that one day we might stop being able to die. So was it worth it? Star-Lord and Nova gave up everything to stop a sickness. They saved 1 trillion lives by condemning themselves to a cycle of endless combat with a mad Titan. They chose a literal hell so that we could have a peaceful heaven. But as we look up at the stars in the Marvel Universe today, we have to wonder, is the fault really closed? Or is it just waiting for us to make the same mistake Mar-Vell did? The next time you're afraid of the dark, remember the Cancerverse. And remember that sometimes the most merciful thing in the universe is the end.